Now the F first rule is great.
It really makes a difference when we alternate.
And just like in cooking, you might want to pick up a new knife.
I get lost just for a moment, thinking
Relationships are hard.
So here are 5 tips that we've learned when living in a van in 60 square feet and the pressure cooker that it becomes when our relationship gets heated. 1, you have to know your love language. So for me, that's quality time. But for Kodiak, that's so not quality time. What helps for us is scheduling out a designated day for date night, specifically for quality time.
Planning a date night might be good and all, but if quality time isn't your love language, this might be how it feels, because it's how it felt to me. What's a good quality time date night? Not going for a walk. Oh, I know. I have a good idea for a date.
Okay.
How about watching a movie together?
That's not quality time.
What do you want?
It's not that simple. It really makes a difference when we alternate planning the date nights. So for 1 week, it might be me, and the next week, it's Kodiak. Kodiak's love language is physical touch, and mine is quality time. And so our designated date night is sort of what helps us keep our love languages together so that both of our needs are met throughout the week. Now, if you don't know, there are 5 love languages. There's quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, and acts of servitude. So you may be 2 of these, 50-50. You might be 60-40 or 90-10. Taking the quiz online, it's totally free, helps you and your partner know what the other person is looking for and how they view love. Because the way that you're probably giving out love is in your own love language. For me, it's when we're spending time together and not doing anything else, like doing the dishes or anything like that, that's what is love to me. Whereas Kodiak doesn't view that as love. Kodiak views holding his hand as love. I don't see it that way. And so when you take the quiz, you get to know the other person so that you can actually say, I love you in your love language and in their love language. That way, you're actually communicating. So you really have to find a balance between your 2 love languages. Like I was saying, date night is ours, and we've just implemented the F first rule. I think you can pretty much guess. Before going out on our date, which is quality time, we implement the F first rule.
Now the F first rule is great and all, but if you had an emotional response to that, something along the lines of, if I don't get my date, then he doesn't get his fun, you probably need to look at that from a deeper lens. Both of these are how you play in your relationship, how you play with your partner. If it evokes something that negative in you, you guys probably ought to sit down and have a conversation about it, because there's probably something a little bit bigger in your relationship that you need to talk about. And unfortunately, communication is key.
But if your words of affirmation and gifts, you might have to come up with a completely different solution. Love languages aren't the only thing you need to know about your partner. You also have to know their apology language. For example, if somebody does something to me or makes me upset, I don't care if they try to make it better or if they try to make restitution. I don't view that as an apology.
I'm sorry I kicked you in the shin. Here, have some flowers. My flowers.
Now, if your partner is making restitution, you might not view that as an apology, and that's just going to create more of a rift. Knowing the other person's apology language and knowing their least apology language, or the smallest amount, can really help you know how to apologize to your partner when the tough times come up, because it's going to, especially in 60 square feet in a van.
Life gets in the way, right? It's really easy to pay attention to this and then move on in your life as things come up and in-laws are in town. However, it's important to make sure that you set aside time, and that's where some apps, like the official app, not sponsored, come in handy and can really help. Apps like the official app basically allow you to answer questions and then see what your partner answered. They can also introduce you to some fun, spicy yoga positions, if you catch my drift. This last one is the most important one, and we're gonna be together to show you this one. So, let's go find Alesha. Oh my God, it worked. I didn't eat shit. Woo!
You're not the problem. I know that.
I know. You're not the problem either. We really need to make sure that we fight the problem, not each other.
Let's fight the problem. We're obviously not talking about you.
But it is really important to make sure that you fight the problem, not the person. Now, if you didn't do any of the things that we did, fighting the problem, fighting the reason that you're fighting, is always going to get you to the outcome of being able to agree on what to do next. Because you're not trying to hurt the other person. You're trying to figure out what you need to do to be better.
And lastly, don't be afraid to treat your relationship like a hobby. You should like doing your hobbies. You should like your relationship. You wouldn't be mad if you had to try something new in a hobby in order to get better at it. So don't be afraid to try new things in your relationship.
And just like in cooking, you might want to pick up a new knife to see if that works better. You can add that into your relationship in the same sense. Try a new position. Decide to go on a walk and talk about a list of things.
Mom and Dad, don't watch this.
They want grandkids.
So in a van, specifically, van life, you're in 60 square feet. You can't let the things that bother you fester because it turns into a pressure cooker really fast.
And these are some of the things that we've learned in 5 years in van life and across the 10 years that we've been together.
So number 1, know your love language and know your partner's love language.
And understand they might not know that you're not hearing what they're doing as love. And that's okay.
2, know your apology language and know your least apology language. Know your partner's apology language and know your partner's least apology language.
You have to be able to put systems in place so that issues that keep coming up don't keep coming up, because that's what leads to resentment. Apps like the official app or planning date nights once a week. And fight the problem, not the person. If you ever feel like, oh, I'm so mad at you that I'm just gonna start fighting you, and you start throwing things that are personal, you need to take a break. Just walk away. Take a breath. It's okay.
And lastly, treat your relationship like a hobby. Try new things, like what you're doing in your relationship, and like your relationship.
I'm Kodiak, this is Alesha, and we're the NoCo Nomads. We travel in a van. Like, follow, subscribe if you want to.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. See you in the next one.